In this video, I'm going to be interviewing Richard Dickson, a young, invigorating investor that I've watched rise up from the south side of Glasgow. I could say a little bit about him just now, but I'm pretty sure he'll take care of that. So without further ado, I'll see you in the video.
I have got a massive target on my back all the time. I'm young, I live a good lifestyle, I'm from a working class community. People either really like me or they hate me, and I fucking love both of those things. Everybody wants the advice, but they've not actually put any skin into the game for themselves. So I'll get someone who's maybe followed me for like, say 5 years. They've seen everything I've done from being like a lookalike working on building sites to the FX industry to property now to just investing in loads of different businesses. And people go, how did you get into bit? They ask you everything and you go onto their page to see, oh, is this person in that game? And they're not doing anything, you know what I mean? And it's simple stuff like I'll say to people, have you got a registered business? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, why do you fucking want information off me when you're not even trying to start something?
So there should be like a tick list before actually, because you got into this game yourself, like you found your mentors and whatnot. Like, what was the process with that? Obviously, you weren't really happy with what you were doing. A lot of people have that career, which is fine, but you weren't happy specifically.
Nah. And do you know what the thing is? Like, I think you need to be visibly in the game, and that's me saying that from being I wouldn't call myself a mentor, but just for the sake of the saying, being the mentee and the mentor, right? And when I look at myself when I was trying to come up into stuff, like I had to prove to people who were above me in those industries that look, I am trying, I am worth speaking to. Do you know what I mean? Because not because I inherently believed then I was going to go on and be something amazing, but like I had to show those people I am worthy of 15 minutes of your time, because one day I might be the guy that gives you the phone call and passes you the opportunity, and you're the guy that's helped water that seed at the start. And when I look at any industry I've been in, any person that I've spoken to get information off of, they've done it on the basis of, oh, this kid's actually trying. He's putting himself out there, he's marketing himself, his business, and that's why he's worth giving time to. And loads of people want to, and it's not to say that you have to be big on social media or anything or have a large following to be of value, but it is a huge part of today.
Of course, on the last video,
people of influence.
On the last video we done, you were like, be a giant on social media, and you have then became a giant. And it's easy as well when people blow up. A lot of people don't see the hard work that goes into it, the time goes into it, the critique, the knockbacks. You get these terms like entrepreneur and stuff like that. You must have been hit with that.
I am my own personal brand, and I'm branding every business that I run myself is being branded into one company at the moment, Richard Dickson Investor, because at the end of the day, I'm maybe not the ship moving forward, but I'm the ice-breaking hull of the ship. Like I'm the person that needs to steer these businesses and associate my face to the businesses themselves. And you know what? Criticism has not bothered me. Like people will say everything about you to try and bring you down or to delegitimize your businesses. I'm yet to have someone who is doing more than me say stuff about me. Actually, that's a lie. I had one guy on LinkedIn who has a brand out of the entrepreneur thing who said like, oh, you're just gonna be another one of these people, and he had a big massive bum chin, and I told him I was gonna swipe a bank card down his bum chin, he blocked me. Do you know what I mean? So like the thing is, like it's like fighting fire with fire. I'm not going to get bogged down and spend loads of time going back and forward with people.
So obviously you're going to lose a lot of people, but you're going to gain a lot of people, or do you just lose them all and then you just have to, is it lonely at the top?
It's evolution, and as humans we've gone through evolution over millions of years. I've only been born for 23 of them, so I can't talk about Neanderthals, but at the end of the day, you're not outgrowing your circle out of badness, but I don't have the time, the energy or the need to bring passengers on my journey, business or personal. And I'm lucky that I've got an incredible group of friends. And, I've got different circles. I've not got one big circle, I've got guys like you where we bridge the gap between friends and business as well, because we can talk about both. Then I've got my friends that I went to school with that I just play FIFA with.
Of course.
Then I've got my friends that literally all we talk about is business. So I do have these different circles. You know what? Yeah, people need to get left behind, Because people, like we said earlier, you know, people point fingers at you and go, you've changed. And I'm like, yeah, and the problem is that you haven't.
You haven't.
You know,
that's what I said.
It's like, I'm constantly changing, I'm constantly evolving. Like, people might think I've got a chip on my shoulder. I've actually got two, one on both, and it doesn't bother me. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's this Scottish mentality as well. Like, we're just talking about that. I mean, it's so hard-grained into who we are. How if they love the underdog, but as soon as you get up, don't get like I'm going to cut you back down.
Yeah.
Like, who do you think you are?
It's not about achievement or being at the top. It's when money comes into it. Because everyone knows someone who's at the top of something, who's a scheme hero. The guy in the scheme who's like, he was a world champion pool player, or the guy that played for Celtic and could have been the next big thing, but now he's like a joiner or whatever. Everyone knows those guys that are at the top, and they're hallowed as like scheme heroes. But as soon as money comes in, that's the problem. Because money is a taboo subject. Imagine yourself, right, as say a 10-year-old, you're sitting at your dinner table with whoever was present in your household, your mum, your dad, whoever was there, and you turned around and there was guests, right? And you turned around and you said to your dad's friend who was the guest, Davey, how much is it you make a week, mate? Right? In the communities we speak in, well, in the circles we speak in now, money's spoken about normally. Like, when I meet some of my business associates on a Monday or a Friday, we all talk about how much did you make last week or how much are you making this week, you know? But back then, that's what you'd have fucking got.
Yeah,
so it's money isn't normalised to speak about, and it goes back into so many things in working class communities. People don't speak about sexuality. So people are like, oh, I can't, I'm a Ned, I need to be hyper masculine because I don't want to tell people I'm gay. Or they don't want to talk about, like, you know, their sexuality in terms of, do they feel like a man, do they feel like a woman, do they not understand how they feel? Like, there's so many things that aren't spoken about, and that's the problem, and people don't speak about money.
So now, personally, I'm starting to live in the now, which I used to always look forward, like the past has no power over the present and definitely doesn't have any power over the future.
Yeah.
But do you live in the now? Do you ever stop and then just enjoy the fucking view?
Yeah. You know what? Like, living in the now is important. Like, I've got boxes I want to tick along the way, and it's not super specific stuff. Like, I know I want to have a family, or I want to at least sell out somewhere, doing a speaking event at some point in my life, and all that stuff like that. But like, I think I live in the now every day, and that is the entrepreneurial roller coaster. Like, a day can be like one, not even 24 hours, like 10 hours of working.
Yeah.
Could be up, down, especially when you're dealing with multiple businesses. Because I could get a phone call saying, we've done 15 grand today in XYZ business. I can go, oh, great, that calculates to roughly XYZ for me. And then I can get another phone call saying, oh yeah, you know that flat you bought, like, we've just went in and there's squatters in there. And you can go from, and that's actually worse because you're going from such a high position to like such an annoyed position. Like, I was talking about this last night with someone. Like, it's not about going to low positions, it's about where you've came from to those positions. Like, imagine you got a phone call right now, Ben, you've won the lottery, £1 million. You'd be like, oh my god. Next phone call, Ben, your mum's dead. do you know what I mean? Like, it's the differences, and that's the entrepreneurial roller coaster that makes it harder. At the end of the day, the thing I always say is, everything I experience as an entrepreneur, a business owner, whatever you want to call it, I would experience in a job anyway. Am I going to have targets I need to meet in a job and as an entrepreneur? Yes. Am I going to be stressed? Yes. Am I going to be upset sometimes? Yes. Am I going to be elated sometimes? Yes. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this all for me, for my legacy.
Of course, your legacy, that's what you're saying. But I mean, your ego, like business partners and whatnot, have you ever clashed with that? Have you ever been in a...
Yeah,
so,
but that's important.
Like, of course it is important because that's critique, like how much do you actually want this to go through, etc., etc. I think egos need to be checked and left at the door.
100%.
But is that self-pride or is that ego, is that identity? Like what, how does that fall under?
It's knowing how to divide your emotional and rational brain, because there's moments of emotion and anger which are unjustified.
So some people don't have the proclivity for rational thinking when there's money involved because they're blinded by the capital gains that they're going to make. So they're like, at any given, like, I need to make this and take this and hold it.
Well, you know what? I find that most of my clashing with business partners is outside of the office. Do you know what I mean? And it's never...
On a personal level?
Yeah, but that clears away the ego that could have then been channeled into the business, if you get what I mean. You know, that way you could, like, say you're in a relationship with someone and little things are annoying you, right? And they all build up and then one little thing makes you snap one day. And they go, whoa, I only didn't wash a dish or something. But in your head, it's a collective amount of stuff. I tend to get that out, not in business. It could be an argument about something stupid like football. For example, here's a great example, right? My finance director, Ian, right? And me and Ian are involved in a couple of businesses together, make really good money together, and we're good friends, right? So we're playing racquetball a couple of days ago, and I was adamant that it was 2-1, right? And he was like, no, it's 3-1. And I was like, it's 2-1, right? And he turns around, slams his racket to the ground and goes, your problem is that you always think you're fucking right. And I was like, well, your problem is that because you're a fucking finance guy, you think you're better at counting to fucking 10. Like, it's an easy round number. We're going back and forth, fuck you, no, fuck you, right? Play the rest of the game. We literally went out, sat down on the bench, I'm like, and he turns around and goes, you know what? This is why we work so fucking well together. Because we never fucking back down. And you're like, fuck you, and I'm like, fuck you. And that's where you realise, like, some people would go, oh my God, like, that's so angsty and you're so aggressive.
Of course, that's quite a good way going forward, isn't it?
We work together. Everyone needs yes men as well, by the way, in a business.
Well, I mean, not too many yes men, that's the thing as well.
But they don't need to be in the business. Like, I'm talking about employees as well. And I don't mean like bum lickers, do you know what I mean? I just mean like,
well, you need employees,
attitude, you need
right?
you need people that you can say, I need you to do this, and they go, no problem. But you know, we've got stuff in the pipeline for the next 12 months that goes from restaurants to insolvency to lead gen to so many different things. And people might think, because I always talk about being the specialist, not the generalist, people might think like, Richard, your literal only qualifications.
Well, that's my follow-up question. How do you learn all this? So do you just put money down?
I don't. Because the thing is, money's a huge part of it, but once you know how to play a game, and not that business is a game because there's people's lives.
Are you talking about like tax and stuff like
that?
this?
Yes, but at the end of the day, I am good at what? Marketing, speaking, creating a network and selling to people. Unconsciously, I don't mean selling as in sitting on the phone all day. So what I need to do is focus on what I'm good at. So Colin McRae, one of the best rally drivers ever, right? Could he have probably serviced his own Subaru and changed the tyres? I would have bet on him other than a normal driver in the street. But he was good at driving. So he got in the seat, put the fucking seatbelt in and drove, right? I am not a tax advisor. I am not a restaurateur. I am not a fucking insolvency practitioner. But I'm intelligent, I'm young, I'm driven. I feel like I'm unstoppable, which sometimes can be a bad thing. And that's why I'm good at these businesses. Imagine myself as, let's say you were a conductor in an orchestra, right? And you turned up one day and nobody turned up to play your instruments. You're not going to hold a tuba in your toe and a violin here and a fucking harmonica and try and all play them at once. I just try and stand at the front and go. It's about the position that you're in. It's not about knowing everything about that. It's a high-level overview. Someone who conducts an orchestra maybe can play a few of the instruments. They understand that this person needs to be here and this person needs to start here.
So by doing that, you kind of counteract the burnout that would happen.
Because I'm working on the businesses, not in the businesses.
So that's working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to, like, there's been days I've had to go in the office and say to people, like, look, I'm picking up the phone, this is how you fucking phone someone. And closing a deal there myself, putting the phone down and being there and being present. But that's also about leadership. You know what I mean?
And where did you get that from?
See, working with my dad and being an electrician and whatnot, we got to work in some beautiful properties, like high-level footballers, multi-millionaires, international executives for oil companies, houses that were on grand designs. And that stuff was hitting me in the face. I was like, whoa. And back then, it wasn't even like, I want this to be my house. It was like, oh, well, I'm the wee guy covered in dust, fucking under the floor, pulling the cables for £6 an hour. So in my head, I went, I want to be the guy with the clipboard. I want to be the QS. And then when I thought about that, I actually got offered, I won this thing through my physics class in school with Brookfield's Multiplex, who's now just Multiplex. They built the new hospital just across the water and stuff. And because our class won it, they said, oh, we want to offer QS internships to a certain amount of pupils and all that. And I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not doing that. Do you know what I mean? I was I don't want to do it. So it's the evolution of, I want to be the QS because the QS is on 40k a year and I'm on 12. And now I'm like 40k a year. Like I couldn't do it. It wouldn't cover my expenses.
I mean, that's a good complaint to say that.
Yeah, it wouldn't cover my expenses though. Do you know what I mean? And like that's just where I am now. It's a constant evolution. It wasn't like I was sitting and I went, I want more because like I see this person, it was a direct line from me as a 15, 16-year-old kid to someone who is in my position now or above. It was a constant evolution. I was like, I want to be that guy. Oh no, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be that guy. So it was like, there wasn't a single moment where I went, you know, I'm destined for more.
Comes down to like motivation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like you either want it or you're going to talk about it. Do you want to talk about it or do you want to get it? If you talk about it, it takes 5 minutes. If you want to get it, it takes 5 years.
Yeah.
So what one do you want to do? Do you want to start now? Motivation dips. I mean, a lot of people just watch the motivational videos and then they'll buzz for like the next few days.
Yeah.
Like, pumped, like I'm going to get this, let's smash it, hustle. Yeah. That word hustle can fuck off. How do you keep it? Like, is it a routine? Like, what do you do for motivation?
I wake up round about the same time. I eat the same stuff. I do a certain amount of fun stuff every week. I play tennis or racquetball or golf near enough every day. right? People might think like, oh well, I'm fucking up at like, I get up at 6 every day. People say like, well, I'm up at 5 and I work until 9 and you're playing golf and I'm working harder than you. But people don't understand the relationships I've built through doing stuff like that.
Of course.
Like as a corporate sponsor of a lovely golf club in Glasgow, I get to go and sit with people that own stuff that you would never imagine.
Aye,
like
10 years ago you would never...
I played a game of golf with a guy that was one of the largest shareholders in Heinz. His shares were worth like over $1 billion.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Playing golf with that guy. And people think like, you're playing golf. I'm like, no, I'm networking. You're working in your business, stuck like a fucking racing horse with blinders on. When I go and play tennis, I'm not, and I mean, I would go and play racquetball with you. I would go and play tennis with any of my mates, but I'm going to networking places. Like,
purpose.
Yeah, I go to Glen Eagles not because I want to, I mean, it's a beautiful course, the food is great, but I am deliberately trying to bump into someone.
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, this is why you started hanging around Park Circus and whatnot.
Fucking right.
Of course it is.
Mate.
Like when I first seen that, I was like, that's genius, and it's kind of fucking creepy if it's someone that constantly saw you, but you didn't give a fuck.
No, I don't care, because at the end of the day...
It hasn't worked?
Like 100%,
right.
1,000,000%. Some of the people I know, the contacts I have now that I can have at the end of a phone, just to help me with stuff is unreal. But to come back to your point on the routine and all that, and the motivation and whatnot, I think if you need to get yourself motivated every day, it's not for you. The same way when I decided I didn't want to fight anymore, because I didn't wake up and want to fight. So I was like, okay, I need to step back. Now that's not me saying that some days I need a jazz up. Because everybody has those days where you wake up and you go, fucking hell, this is tough. But see, at the end of the day, like I'm gonna have kids. I've got a family there that might need me one day. It's bigger than just me.
Of course.
You know, like
I think a lot of people don't see that. That's what I kind of wanted to get across.
Yeah,
it's like you are working for your whole family, etc.
It's generational wealth.
Yeah, I mean, you 5 years ago, you have completely changed and grown, and still yet stayed the same.
Yeah,
like it's not a bad thing, is it?
Yeah, nah, mate. Do you know what? One of my greatest attributes is nothing to do with business. It's nothing to do with money or network. It's the fact that I truly believe I can make anybody laugh or smile. Anybody.
You said that with the Wolf of Wall Street, right?
And exactly. The photos of me and him together, I spoke to him for 2 seconds and the cunt was pissing himself laughing, do you know what I mean? And like, I truly believe that is something that I can do, and it's something that I'm going to keep with me forever. Like, maybe my tastes go up and my monthly outgoings increase or whatever, but I'm still like fucking Jenny for the block, do you know what I mean? Like that's what it is. Like, and you know what? Like, just because I get to fly business class now, or eat in nicer restaurants or whatever, like I still have respect for everybody. Now, I'm not one of these respect your elders, respect this. I respect those who deserve to be respected.
Of course, it's like earned, isn't it?
Like that's just me. I really don't feel that I've changed that much. In terms of mentorship costs and how much I've spent developing my own businesses and my mindset and all that, you know, I'm the last 12 months, 25, 30 grand.
And that's paid dividends.
Yeah, hugely. And that also gives me the inclination that I am not giving you that for free.
Of course, well that's one thing as well. Free. Do you find those kind of courses, like they do open doors, or do you think they are a crock of shit?
It depends what you take from them and who it is. You know, like I'm happy to say that the people that I have been mentored by are my friends.
Yeah.
And like maybe I've done a video on this not that long ago, maybe my experience of mentors isn't clouded, but it's very biased because
is that a video you done, like paid mentorship versus
yeah, exactly. So like I feel it's been great for me, but see, at the end of the day, like if you are looking for something as a quick fix, you're fucked already.
Yeah, of course.
Like people that go, oh, I've done this course and I didn't make any money. I'm like, what did you do every day? Did you get up? Did you follow a system you set out for yourself? Like, did you really put time into that? And they're like, oh well, no.
They're not accountable.
Like, if I fucking smashed you in the head with an axe, you wouldn't pull out a fucking plaster and stick it over and go, the plaster's not working. You go to the fucking hospital and get it sorted. Like, but
well, you jumped into things without really knowing, and then just learnt as you went on. I watched that, like, because I'd done a lot of that too. Like, you just jump into things and you're like, right, fuck it, we're going to get going. And then you learn and you're like, can't do that again. Or,
yeah, you need to learn on the job sometimes.
Well, that's the thing, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Like learning becomes procrastinating.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing that no one really talks about, is you'll be like, I'm in a safe place, I'm just learning. But you're procrastinating.
It's because people don't put time limits on stuff. comes into like if
you do put time limits and stuff.
But even on simple stuff, like I could be sitting at my breakfast bar going like, I've got some new copy I need to write for a website, right? Because we actually don't have copywriting in house. I still do all of our copywriting for ads and whatnot, right? Because I just enjoy doing it, something I'm good at. And I'd be like, right, we need copy for this new website. And human beings cannot understand the appropriate time to complete a task. And this goes back to anyone working with my dad. Oh, this house, 4 days to rewire. You're there on day 6, and you're like, still another day in this. That's just human nature. If you were, I didn't go to university, right? But if you were in school, right, you've got 2 weeks to do this essay, and you get told that on a Friday, you're doing that essay Thursday night.
Of course.
Because humans take the amount of time they've given themselves to complete that task. But if you reduce that amount of time, I guess it's kind of like the 10x thing, right? But if you reduce that amount of time, you'll be more inclined to complete that task faster. So if I go, right, this website copy, 800 words, I need 40 minutes, timer started. Phone's on do not disturb. I've got my favourites, so if my mum phones me, it rings. If people who are important phone me, it rings, right? And I just fire it out. Now, I might get it done in 51 minutes and my timer's already stopped. But if I set myself, I need to do website copy today, I'd be in my bed at 10:30 with fucking Peep Show on, writing my website copy. Would it still get done on the day it was meant to get done? Yes. But how many tasks am I going to put to those last 4 hours of the night? Now, I deliberately keep work to do in the house at night because I stay here in a fucking big flat myself. So sometimes I'm bored. I want work to do, you know? And maybe that's because I'm playing golf during the day. We'll go, you're playing golf during office hours. Like, I have staff in the office, working office hours. I am not a member of staff. Like, I give myself tasks to do at night. But it comes down to everything, you can put time on it, you know what I mean? And if you think that a task is going to take you, if you think it's going to take you 5 years or 5 minutes, either way you're right. The same way if you think, like people say, if you think you can or you can't, you're correct, you know? Like, so it's the same thing, people don't put time limits on stuff, and that's why they procrastinate. Like, and it comes back to me always saying, no fucking wonder so many young men fucking throw themselves in the Clyde or whatever, because everyone's trying to upkeep this image. Don't upkeep the image, build the lifestyle that provides the image. Like, these trousers I'm wearing, 700 quid. Trainers, 850 pounds. Watch, 5 grand. Hat, 300 quid. Whatever, right? But I pay for that through assets and dividends. I don't pay that through having to punt gear on my arse or doing overtime. How many young guys, and you don't need to name anyone, how many young guys probably come into you, right? Like, that you've known for years, that you've had relationships with, come in, dressed in whatever, and you ask them what they do. I'm a gas engineer. So you know they're on like maybe 500 quid a week. Fantastic wage, by the way, great. If I was a spark back in the day and someone offered me 500 quid a week, I'd have fucking sucked knobs and sucky home straight to get that, do you know what I mean, right? But then you see them and they're wearing like an AP and they're wearing this and that. Whether it's fake or real or whatever doesn't really matter, but that's a huge amount of pressure to keep up with. Because, and you know what, sometimes I think to myself, am I creating that pressure? Are people looking at me and going, oh well, he's doing this and birds want to talk to him and he's got a nice car, I need to uphold that image. Like, see the amount of time you spend sweating and stressing to upkeep that image, you could channel that energy into building something great. Of course. Right? And that's not me saying you need to become the next fucking Into or the next fucking McDonald's or the next powerhouse, but you could have why not? But you could also have a very comfortable life that provides you with all those luxuries, but without that, it comes down to worth. Inside you feel that you're not worthy as yourself. I wear nice clothes because I like wearing it. Could I sit here? I mean, my most worn clothes, I've got sets of Primark trackies in my joggies and hoodies. I'll put on a pair of Air Maxes, hat, and I'll go out and have my breakfast. And I feel valid in anything I wear. Nothing or everything. Just go past that fucking sanctuary on a Saturday night. Like, you think everyone in there's millionaires. Do you know what I mean? I bet you if you've seen their fucking Klarna balances or the fucking American Express or whatever. Now, I have been in positions where American Express have been phoning me, Mr. Dickson, you've got 5k to pay. I'm like, sorry, this isn't Mr. Dickson. You have the wrong number. Put it down. But that's because I've used my Amex to go to B&Q to buy a kitchen to try and flip something fucking 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it for me and building something bigger than that, to the point that now, like...
So you understand debt?
Debt's leverage. Debt's leverage. And I don't leverage it to bring a lifestyle. I leverage debt to build capital that brings me a lifestyle. I remember being in John Lewis, right? My mum loved, women just love John Lewis, like mums love it.
Of course.
And I can't remember what my mum wanted. It was maybe a Tassimo or something, right? I heard her saying she wanted a Tassimo. Now, this is before I start my own business. Like, I'm on site here. I'm on like £300 a week if I'm lucky,
Yeah.
right? And I go into John Lewis and I'm like, I want to get my mum a Tassimo, right? And I look and I see how much a Tassimo is, and I'm like, I can't get my mum a Tassimo, right? I can't do it. So I'm talking to the woman and all that, and there's like, John Lewis card, apply in here today with a MasterCard logo and all that. And I went, oh, I'd love to get my mum that Tassimo, I can't afford it. And the woman's like, well, you can get yourself a John Lewis card that goes out the card. So I don't know that, at this point, I don't know that that's a credit card. I've got no credit cards. I'm like,
how old are you?
18,
Right.
maybe 18.
Fit in the profile.
Yeah. So I'm like, John Lewis card, is that right? Ah, yeah, all right.
That's the demographic.
I'm like, so what, do I just make, she brings out the fucking Old Testament basically, and I'm signing my fucking life away. I'm like, no problem, right? So basically, I make the purchase with a card. It's the starting balance of this credit card, but I get my mum's Tassimo, and I feel fucking good, right? And I give my mum the Tassimo. I can't even remember if it was Tassimo, but it was something, right? And I gave that to my mum. That was my first credit card. Now, I forget about that for like 6 months, right? And I get a fucking statement through, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it took me like a year to pay that thing off, right? Just chipping away.
Yeah, man, a lot of people do this.
And I had a moment in my head, I was like, whoa, but I needed something. Forget that it was like a vanity metric, like that I wanted to buy my mum that. I was like, I wanted something that I personally couldn't get, but I leveraged something to get it that, yes, made me happy, made someone else happy, but it worked. So I'm like, right, now how does that leverage work again? I was like, now I've got a fucking default because I've fucked up that card. I need to build up some rapport with that lender and, you know, just go and pay for my petrol with it, pay it off at the end of the month and all that. I was like, but I use that as leverage. And now I've got, what, probably 30k worth of credit cards. I don't mean outstanding balance, I mean of leverage. I could flip a house with credit cards.
Fair play.
I mean, that's mortgage fraud. You can't use anything to do that. But you get what I'm saying, right? So that made me understand I can leverage that. And I think young people, especially young men, like I'm saying, don't understand that leverage. Like, it's simple and easy enough to say, don't make yourself broke, living a lifestyle, fucking champagne lifestyle, lemonade budget and all that. You can have lemonade, you can have champagne, you can have fucking everything, but put in some appropriate work. Like, do you want to, don't burn yourself out, don't burn yourself out, don't end up fucking dead.
You are involved in quite a lot of charities and whatnot. You've seen in your social media, like just volunteering your services, your presence,
sponsoring athletes, whatnot, all that kind of stuff.
How are you finding all that stuff, sponsoring, whatnot, like giving back value to a community?
You can only sponsor, whether it be a financial sponsorship, a sweat equity sponsorship, only sponsor if you can totally accept that there is a 99.9% chance you're going to get nothing back.
Yeah.
Don't sponsor if like you need something back from that sponsorship. So for example, like...
So that's like a left hand give, right hand take?
Yeah, so like I sponsor like a fighter, Chris, who like fights in Bellator and whatnot, and I sponsored him based off of passion.
Is that the problem?
The problem.
Mate, he's a badass motherfucker.
Savage, mate, savage, right? So I sponsored him on the basis of like, I like him, he maybe needs the sponsorship, and I feel that he has potential to get somewhere. Not because I expect anything back. I got a 30 grand deal off him. Now, that's paid his sponsorship for the next fucking however many years if I want to keep him. And, you know, if I like offer out my car to take kids to prom, it's not that I expect Glasgow Live to fucking phone me and want to talk about it, or I expect anyone to do anything for me. I mean, as soon as I posted that, all my mates that drive McLarens, Rolls Royces, they were like, we'll fucking do that too. We've got a fleet of cars we could take kids to prom in now, you know what I mean? But I'm doing that not expecting anything back. And as soon as you let go of that expectation to receive something in return, when you let go of that, your life becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. Obviously it must have been frustrating from you, as a lot of people. You've got that ambition, you've got that drive. Not all your mates want to talk about it. They're not in the same headspace.
No.
Is that alright to leave them and go and do your thing? They're still your mates.
100%. And do you know what? I was a bad person for this as well, because I'm a great believer in extreme ownership. I need to point to myself sometimes. And see, when I think about past friendships, past relationships and stuff like that, I actually realise how much of a sometimes unfair black and white person I was, because I'd be saying to my friends, like take James for example, you know James has obviously struggled with illnesses and stuff throughout his life, and I'd be like, just get up and do it, and then sometimes maybe it's a maturity thing, so I've sat back and went, you know, there's some things that people just can't. Sometimes people just can't. And like if if I say to my friends, like, all you can do for people is open a door. Like, you can't force them to go through it. So if I say to my friends, like, they're thinking, oh, I want to do this business, and I'm like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, then I get annoyed at them for not doing it. That's my standards I'm upholding. And maybe I've done that with relationships as well, with girls before. I've been like, well, this is my standard, and maybe something you enjoy doing in your life, I don't enjoy you doing. That doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't have... But I shouldn't put pressure on anyone unless you are employed by me.
Yeah, and well, that's a whole different pay grade. That's a pay grade, of course.
Exactly, right. And I pay well. By the way, last week, our new start salesman, last week, done 1,300 quid first week. You know what I mean? Like, that's
is
good
that
money.
unheard of? I don't really know in regards to sales. Is that good?
Someone on the first week doing sales with all the data provided, just phone bashing all day? Yeah. That guy walked away with 5k this month.
Class.
And he came from working for like £1,000 a month. Like, I have got a massive target on my back all the time. I'm young, I live a good lifestyle, I'm from a working class community. People either really like me or they hate me.
Yeah.
And I fucking love both of those things. Because the people that really like me will either be, you know, loyal followers of my brand, or people who will really want to do business with me. And the people who hate me will stay the fuck out my way. And you know what? People are going to come after stuff I do. Nothing I do is proprietary. I have no IP. Everything I do is stuff that thousands of other people do. But I just have either found my own little brand, my own little pocket of people that I feel I can do better in a certain area. So people will come for my brands, people will come for my businesses, people will come for my clients, people will do all of that stuff. But like, that's where scheme boy mode kicks in. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean kicks in as I'm going to go to the person's house and break their fucking legs.
That. Some people might not understand that.
But that's where the grit comes in. Like, okay, come after me then.
But that's like the
me court
relationships
papers,
and all
whatever.
that
Like, I
stuff.
don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not. None of that feels me. As you grow bigger as a person, as a business person, as do your problems. Like, whereas before, affording a Tassimo coffee machine for my mum for Christmas was a problem, my next problem might be, fucking hell, we need 300 grand for that project and I've only got X amount I want to put in that. It's not about being an entrepreneur or a business owner, it's about knowing your value. And like, if you're going to put time into stuff, put emotion into stuff, just sit back and think about, like, are you doing that for you? Are you doing that for someone else's benefit? Now, you might need to do the latter for a small period of time until you can break off and do your own, but whether you're from a scheme, you're from fucking, you're one of the Bears Den boys, like, whatever you are, like, you can do incredible stuff. That doesn't always need to lead back to money. One thing that I start every day with is I have a list of things on my phone, like from my old whiteboard, stuff that I say to myself every day.
Affirmations.
Like, yep. I just stand here, I'm just like, Richard, you're strong, you're a game changer, you're building a legacy, and I always tell myself memento mori, which is Latin for remember you will die.
Of course. I
have not got unlimited time here. I've got regret on this hand and discipline here, because regret weighs tons, discipline weighs ounces. Yes, it's hard getting up early sometimes. Yes, it's hard going to meetings, travelling, missing out on deals, losing money on deals. I'm not going to go and say I've made money on everything I've ever done. I've lost money as well, you know, it happens. But at the end of the day, the discipline I put in just now might feel hard, but imagine me lying on my deathbed. I could die next year from anything. Like, you see people that aren't old enough to die, like Fernando Rickson, guys like that. Like, imagine being that age, lying in your bed and thinking, what could I have done different?
Yeah.
And you know, Fernando Rickson, great football player, great life. He will have had regrets, and so will I. But see, being able to look at that every single day, my regrets are going to be a lot less than the average man or woman or whoever.
Some powerful shit.
So it's just like, at the end of the day, I don't want to die going, what could have been, what could I have done? I want to die going, yeah, you know what? I could have done some other stuff. But at the end of the day, I got up and I showed up every single day. I was present and I created something that's going to provide people with employment, my family with fucking good things for a lot longer than I have been present on the planet. So it's just, we're not indestructible. We're all going to die at some point. People say life's too short. It's the longest thing we experience. It's the first thing we see when we open our eyes, and it's the last thing we see when we close them. And it's just important to remember, you know what? I am on this fucking mortal coil for a certain amount of time, and how I use that is down to me. And yeah, just fucking remember, you're going to die at some point. So just do shit for you and those around you.
The powerful Richard Dickson.
Boom.
Yeah.